Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Sufficient evidences have indicated serious effort by Osun State to widen its links with the best global practices in women and children welfare and empowerment since it debuted 2 years ago. The Ministry of Women Affairs and Children Welfare has consolidated its policy objectives, which was placed before it when Governor Ademola Adeleke approved splitting the ministry and creating a new one to specifically focus on the challenges of womanhood and child development. Living Spring Update, episode 21, is revisiting the Ministry of Women Affairs and Children Welfare by interfacing with the 4 departmental heads saddled with the duties of networking the activities of the ministry and ensuring that they are executed to meet the agenda of government, equilibrium, and healthy interpersonal relationships among people of different socioeconomic interests and levels. Investigations reveal that the ministry has not only accentuated social service to the citizens by constant physical, psychological, emotional, interactive, and media enlightenment campaigns, it has bridged the wide gaps that previously exist between and among vulnerables and non-vulnerables, and in the process brought governance closer to the people. My name is Tomilola Daniel Iranko.
The Ministry of Women Affairs and Children Welfare has become more effective in the last 2 years because the coordinating departments of the ministry have spared no effort to take a cue from the provisions spelled out by globally recognized institutions that place high premium on women and children welfare. The ministry is an active partaker in the various bills that spelled out the rights and welfare of vulnerable women and children in line with the United Nations Charter. The 2007 Bill on Child Rights Act, the 2013 Law on Violence Against Women and Children are some of the existing legal instruments which the ministry is aligned. Every opportunity is being seized to make Osun State relevant in the implementation of the national policy on women and children's rights and development by taking cognizance of the UN Charter and complying with the provisions. Sulaiman Adekunle Rufai is the Director, Children Welfare in the ministry. He spoke on steps being taken by the ministry to tailor its programs on children welfare and development along the priority areas of out-of-school children, child protection, rehabilitation, women empowerment, monitoring, information networking, and implementation of amnesty programs.
Let me begin by telling you the department is in charge of the shadow with the responsibility of the general welfare of the children in the state as enshrined by the child rights law in respect of development, survival, protection, and participation of the children. And we have a lot of processes for making sure we, act and respond to our mandate. Like in the year 2004, we sponsor a bill that we stop the reduction of the female genital mutilation in the then House of Assembly through the department and with the help of the ministry. By God's grace, the law was passed in the year 2004. In 2007, we equally sponsor a bill that has to do with the Child Rights Act. We have to adapt it to our own state level. The simplified edition. Through the House of Assembly then, the law was passed in the year 2007 by the governor and assented to by the governor. In the year 2013 also, there is that law on violence against children and women, domestic violence against women and children, and the law was equally passed in the year 2013. So with that, we've been able to conduct our affairs through all those tents because Nigeria is a signatory to the child rights law, and everything, our dictates and the responsibility is embedded in that law. And since that time, we've been doing our best to see that we, discharge our duty accordingly. And as for the national priority on the right of the children, we take clue from that national priority, and we discharge our duty accordingly. Like, we organize program for these children, for their protection. We program like Children End of the Year party for their survivor. We organize Children's Day celebration, and we organize a lot of program that will enhance their performance. Like the other time we had sensitization for the out-of-school girls. We taught them on vocational development, our girls, so that they can be economic dependent on their own, and they have to contribute their quota to the development of the state. Like I said, our agency is in charge of find solution to all these problems that we dehumanize our women and children. So we try to carry out a sensitization talks and sensitization program that we have direct contact to these children in respect to how they can live their life without going into these vices on a zonal basis. And the senatorial district, we used to carry out sensitization talk on how we call them together. We organize program for them so that they will know they have to do away with all these vices. By so doing, you see the results, and they are now, being the effect is on them, and they are now reducing the scourge, and they live peacefully in their community and with the people.
Gender issues have assumed greater dimensions to the extent of attracting government attention at the national level. The Gender Department of the Ministry has not been left out in the current efforts to prioritize gender-related challenges and solutions. Since the ministry was created 2 years ago, Mrs. Lola Adewale is the ministry's Director, Gender Affairs, who disclosed that the state government keyed into the national gender policy approved on the 29th of October 2023 because gender issues are all-encompassing and requires a standalone policy which the ministry is in a position to execute.
Actually, the national gender policy, which was brought into limelight in year 2003, has been a very eye-opening policy from the national, because it is a conglomerate of so many policies and programs, observations that the Women Affairs Department development from the federal level observed and sought to bridge the so many misgivings of the women in the society.
The ministry established a key policy of the Adeleke administration is women empowerment. A lot has gone into attaining the 85% affirmative action plan as enshrined in the United Nations Charter by the Ministry of Women Affairs and Children Development. According to the Director, Women Affairs in the Ministry, Mrs. Oluwayemisi Cecilia Oladele, Osun State government has not wavered in complying with the national policy on women empowerment, which aims to correct the misdemeanors affecting the female population and reduce the level of marginalization of the women folk through a series of social mobilization and empowerment programs. She disclosed several social advancement activities the ministry has engaged the women population, particularly at the grassroots. Within 2 years, the Governor Adeleke assumed office in Osun State. Even when not all traces of social, economic, political, and cultural abuse against the female gender have been cleared, Mrs. Oladele is optimistic that present efforts by the ministry to advance sensitization and support will yield bigger fruits very soon.
Actually, this department was established following the approval of the executive governor of the state, Asiwaju Senator Nuruddin Ademola Jackson Adeleke, on 29th of October 2023. And since then, initially we were under the Department of Women Affairs. But having realized that gender is all-encompassing and need for it to stand alone, so Mr. Governor approved the establishment of the department. And what do we do in this department? The department functions as the coordinating body of the unit that coordinates all gender-related matters in the state, formulation of policy, and also the gender mainstreaming into the programs, the policy, and plans of the government. And we function as well, like I said, as a coordinating body for all gender-related matters in the states. The state government, under the leadership of our governor, has been doing wonderfully well in area of gender, women empowerment, skill acquisition for women, and also the vulnerables. So one of those things we've done, like I said, advocacy is the core mandate of this department. Advocacy, intergenerational dialogue with stakeholders on the need to combat the menace of gender-based violence in the state, and also to ensure gender equality. What do I mean by that? You know, women are always marginalized. And this is one of the advocacy we try to campaign against, that women can as well be in the position of men, not from home, because we are all aware that men are the heads of women. But on the seats, don't forget that we all attend university. Even at times, women come out in first class in the university. So why is it that when we want to assume the position of duty, that it will now be, oh, men is the best on the seat? So this is one of the advocacies we'll try to anyway, this is one of the advocacy campaign that we take around town. So we as well have this initiative of Catch Them Young, because all these marginalization, gender inequality, they start from home. So with this, we collaborate with all the departments in the ministry. Like we do campaign to schools where we will have to encourage young ones that, okay, this issue of gender-based violence, there is need to advocate for it. Okay, let's as well look at the issue of female genital mutilation in Osun State. As of 2003, Osun State had the highest prevalence of the practice in the states by 76.6%. And since then, we've been collaborating with different organizations such as United Nations Joint Program, the UNICEF and UNFPA, civil societies, to make campaigns, go around all the grassroots, because having realized that we are the ones that have the highest prevalence of the practice, we've been collaborating with the state government and other reputable NGOs internationally, locally, and all sorts. And as God will have it, because the continuous sensitization of the program, we persisted on it, and as at 2018 National Demographic Health Survey, realized that Osun now have 49.5% reduction of as against 76.6%. So what I'm just trying to say is that this department ensure advocacy, intensive efforts to realize that everybody comply with the mind of campaign against gender-based violence, campaign against gender inequalities, and also to encourage the implementation of policies like RAP law, like gender equity and social inclusion policy of Osun State. This is 2018. It still needs to be reviewed now. But what we are saying is that implementation is key because, as we're all aware, implementation of laws have always been a problem of Nigeria. Of course, we have policy. Of course, we have laws. But how do we implement? So we also encourage survivors to speak out when they are having any experience of gender-based violence. You know, some of the survivors, the fear of what if I report? What will happen at the end of it? So some of them will just have to keep quiet and be nursing the psychological trauma they have. And that is when you will see a very beautiful lady, a cute guy, that you will just realize that he's already having problem upstairs. So you keep wondering what is going on. A well-looking man, looking so good, a young lady, beautiful, and you realize that no, something is wrong emotionally. So what we do here is to encourage survivors to speak out. So this department also sits to the unit of we call it Women Clinic. And what do we do in Women Clinic? We give psychosocial support to any survivor of gender-based violence. We give support to them, and we've been trying to encourage them to always come to the ministry where we have seasoned social workers that we attend to their cases. So this department is all-encompassing. We work with all the departments in the ministry because we need to ensure the policy formulation and implementation of the policy. We have to ensure that, okay, what have you been doing in your department concerning the advocacy, the campaign, and also recently we had, last year, November, we had a huge program of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, where we had all our participants from different places. We collaborated with Office of the First Lady, and it was actually a huge success because we were able to reach out to the relevant stakeholders. We have the traditional rulers, religious leaders in attendance, students, In fact, we had it up to NURTW presidents in attendance because we need these people. Gender-based violence is not pointed to one person alone. Anybody can violate anyone. It's not even about, oh, my husband has been beating me. Wives as well can as well violate their husbands. So how do we now help the men out? That is what gender department, we are for women, we are for men at the same time. So we don't just focus on women alone. So in case people want to reach out to the Ministry of Women Affairs, Children and Social Welfare regarding the gender-based violence or survival of GBV, you can reach us on 090-2322-7272. Once again, 090-2322-7272. We have, it's a 24-hour line, so you just call and you get solution to the problem.
The 2018 demography survey report indicated a 49.5% reduction in gender-related violence in Nigeria. Osun State is inclusive in the survey due to sundry effort by the Ministry on Advocacy, Enlightenment and Interventions at mitigating and eliminating gender violence and prejudices among vulnerable groups. The ministry established a women clinical which offers psychosocial support for victims of gender violence. The 16 days of activism against gender violence held last year was targeted at fostering intergenerational collaboration, which the ministry believes is potent to changing the negative narratives that are culturally entrenched and discriminatory between male and female gender.
Perhaps no other challenge bothers the Ministry of Women Affairs and Children Development than juvenile problems, which have become a national malady. Speaking with Living Spring Update, Director of Social Welfare in the ministry, Mr. Olusegun Akonde, said juvenile delinquency is a product of dysfunctional family setting, which quickly becomes a humanity problem if left untreated. According to him, the ministry's priorities are targeted at creating synergies between and among families, relevant agencies, and legal instruments set up for the purpose of ensuring harmony in homes and the society at large. Mr. Olusegun Akonde disclosed that despite personnel, logistic, and financial limitations, the ministry enjoys good symbiotic relationships with the public, especially kind-spirited individuals who show interest in the well-being of vulnerable persons and juveniles.
Looking back into the area of our responsibility, I may quickly highlight a field area into which we are serving the public, because our service initially is humanity to mankind. That is service to humanity. And because of that, we attend to people in difficult circumstances, and then we also attend to people the family welfare services, that is the family setting of point of view. Then we also attend to juvenile welfare services, which involve the child, the children, young persons in different circumstances. And then we also have what we call abandonment and adoption in that area of service. So the area of challenges as regard to that one is the shortage of personnel. The shortage of personnel because we don't have much hand presently, so that we can reach out to all intending people. Because sometimes we may have a report, an urgent report from anywhere, any part of the state, because we have 6 geopolitical zone in the state. We have Osogbo zone, Ilesha zone, Ife zone, Ede zone, Osogbo zone, and to mention all. So that is what we have. So our personnel working in that place are not enough. So we don't have enough hand to work with. Though better still, we are still performing our duty as expected of us. We use all other alternatives that we can fall upon. So because of that, we travel. And people also understood that situation with us. If there is any reported case of a woman of unsound mind carrying baby all around, the public will tell us, they usually tell us that one through the internet. So when we get that one, we quickly swing into action and we do the necessary thing. All the time we got such a report from people. And they do come to our offices too to lodge complaint. So whenever we have any matter relating to that one, most of it we attend to it in the court, because we are using family courts too to address issues related to each area of individual in order to canvass peace for their life. That is how far we have been going as far as this work is concerned. People, they respond positively to us in that area. Whenever we have such an issue, some philanthropists are readily available there for us. They come up to say that they can handle this, they can handle that. And we usually collaborate, because the issue of social welfare service also require collaboratory service from any area. And then, for instance, we have collaboratory service from the for those orphanage homes that register with the ministry. And then we have some international organizations that also go along with the ministry. For instance, presently we are collaborating with the TIA Fund that are preaching gospel on the sweep, strength of women economy empowerment project. So we collaborate together and do some needful in that area of service. So they do hold meeting periodically with us, and we have to wherever we have to respond to public, they will shed light to it, and we put resources together and work it out.
Advocacy, collaboration, intervention. These are the three fundamental slogans adopted by the Ministry of Women Affairs and Children Development in Osun State to push the narrative of human and social development to frontiers of government policies and programs. The good news is that appreciable gains are coming forth as the Adeleke administration approves and implements series of proposals on the vital needs of building a healthy and harmonious society based on shared values that promotes respect for culture and tradition without the prejudices of discrimination and violence. As the state government doubles effort to strengthen the ministry to achieve its objectives, a better story is being told. And that's all the Living Spring Update today, episode 21. Join us again next week. I am Tomilola Daniel saying bye for now.
Spring Update is a production of the Office of the Spokesperson to the Governor, Governor's Office, Osogbo.